Hi, I will try to review videos. This time I'm reviewing the Indien-Panzer. The Indien-Panzer is a tier 8 German medium tank, and to be honest, it is for me a 50-50 tank. I said in my past reviews also of other tanks where I was saying like the Indien-Panzer, it's 50-50 tank. Sometimes you have such great battles in this tank, and sometimes you just want to sell this tank or use a little bit of free experience to at least skip this horrible tank. But after playing a little while, it's not that bad anymore as it used to be. I mean, my opinions has been changed. I mean, I used to hate this tank, but now it's kinda good if you're driving it right. I mean, it is very difficult to drive this tank. Why? Because it plays more like a heavy tank. It doesn't feel like a medium tank. Why? Because the gun, first of all, is one of the highest penetration guns of a medium tank. 212mm penetration is a lot. The fire rate is okay, but the average damage is very low for tier 8. I mean, the Russian T-44s and what else, Type 59, etc. They all have damages of 300 damage per shot, but this only has 240 damage per shot. That's very low. Accuracy, of course, is very good. It's typical German. But what trolls you over and over again in this tank is the aiming time of this gun. You almost have to wait 3 seconds before this thing aims. If you play a medium tank, you don't want to stand still. You want to do the hit and run tactic. Just stand still for 2 seconds and just start driving on. I mean, the aiming time, you just can't do that with the aiming time. It's so high aiming time. And with a medium tank, this is not how it's supposed to be. So that is why it feels like a heavy tank. Low aiming time, high penetration. Then at second one, the armor. The armor on this thing is 19mm of very sloped. The sloping on of this angle does remind me of a tank. It almost has no difference. I mean, look at that, 170mm of armor, AMX-50B, almost impenetrable from the hull, if you're not shooting the lower hull of the turret. So the AMX-50B is still a big XP bag. But look at it, the sloping is almost just the same, and don't think that you're going to bounce everything. No. I think it's sloped in at 70° angle, so it's like 170mm of effective armor, so there are still guns that can penetrate you. But don't be surprised that sometimes you're like, oh shit, I'm dead, and everyone is bouncing on your front. That is one of the last tanks where you will have armor. I mean, the Indien-Panzer, well, it had armor, but it was not that good. I mean, it was a scout still. And you must know that 90mm of frontal armor in tier 10, nah. The Indien-Panzer, it gets placed into tier 8, and there you will be. It is a quite good tank. Then you have no armor, and again no armor. So the only tank of this whole branch what has armor is the Indien-Panzer. The turret armor, you're going to say like, well, it only has 90mm of turret armor, and look at the gun mantle, it's almost impenetrable. No, it's not. This is not a big chunk of armor. This is just air. The 90mm of your turret armor and the gun mantle is not going to help you. The weak spot of the Indien-Panzer is the turret. Trust me. Then what is very good about this tank also is the side armor is 90mm thick. That's a lot. Side scraping is no problem at all in this tank. 45 on the back, it's not a basic, but it's better than nothing. Then you have that big weak spot here. I mean, it's just sticking out the turret, and it's like, shoot me. You just want to penetrate here. I mean, look at this big thing. The weak spot on this thing, by the way, are here, and here. And but it's very good if you're trying to side scrape. I mean, and one problem also with this tank that it typical occurs is like, you are getting hit and you see that there is a bounce on your front arm, and you're like, huh, how did it penetrate? You know why? Because shells has something special. If you bounce of a tank, like for instance I'm shooting from this angle onto him like this, and I bounce off, my shell will actually bounce off also. But if there's some guy like for instance the LOL tractor, and he's just standing there 1 meter beside the Indien-Panzer, and the shell bounces off the Indien-Panzer, goes into the LOL tractor gets destroyed from that bouncing shell. So what happens here is that the shell comes in here, it bounces off, and it goes beneath the turret, into the turret. So the gun of this thing is getting knocked out a lot of times. The engine is 630 horsepower, what is actually a worse engine than the Aufklärungspanzer, what had 900 horsepower engine, and it's almost the same weight. I think the Aufklärungspanzer was 52 tons. This one is 43. So the engine to ton ratio is higher on the Aufklärungspanzer, but not on the Indien-Panzer. The Indien-Panzer is a pretty slow tank. It is fast, but it's kind of it's kind of the same as the French heavy tanks. It's that fast. So it plays like a heavy tank. I mean, it has armor, it has a gun like a heavy tank, and it has the speed of a fast heavy tank like the French, for instance. The hit points are pretty low though. 1300 hit points is not a lot for a German tank. No, not at all. The speed limit is 50. You will easily reach that top speed, but only if you're going straight. If you're going uphill, etc., you will lose a lot of speed. This thing is, by the way, very slow off hill also. For some reason the travel speed is very good. Nothing to complain here about. I mean, just what I said, it's a 50-50 tank. Some things, like for instance the gun, what I hate, is not good, but the speed of this thing is very good, and the travel speed also. And I mean, there you have a typical medium tank. And so a little bit of history. The project tank was developed as a medium tank for the Indian army. The work for the project was carried by Porsche, Daimler-Benz and Zahnradfabrik AG and of Friedrichshafen. However, the vehicle was deemed to be too complicated for the production in India, and the project was cancelled. This was not a German tank. It was built by the Germans, but it was not a German tank. It was made for Indian army. And it was, by the way, started from a project from the 1950s. But then you had of course the Centurion and the Patton. So this tank was pretty outdated, and it was very complicated to make. But if this tank actually hit at the battlefield, the history would becoming very the history will change. Why? Because, for instance, just wait a second, I have it here on. The conflicts in India fought during the 1960s, including the conflicts with Portugal, China, Pakistan. If India had tanks, these conflicts will turn another way, and maybe India had one. But this is not a German tank. I have no idea what it actually does in the branch. It is built by the Germans, but it's not a German tank, it's an Indian tank. That's why it's called the Indien-Panzer. I don't know I thought India was a colony from Britain and not from Germany, so I have no idea why the Germans would gift an Indien-Panzer to the British. I don't know, but maybe they will change it in the future or something. I don't know, I have to do a little break. Okay, so let's go over the stats. I already have done the engine. The radio was pretty good, 720. It's good. What I recommend for you to mount on this tank is the vertical stabilizer. The shooting on the move is actually not bad on this tank, and the plus 20% to accuracy during movement in the third rotation is going to help you. Plus 10, this you need. Just mount it on your tank, don't even think about it, just mount the enhanced gun lane drive. You need it, that plus 10% to aiming speed. And of course, but the typical, these two things, plus 10% to aiming speed, minus 10% to load time, are always mounted on all my medium. I have mounted it on the E50M, and I've mounted it on the T62A also, as you see. So these things, this is the basics almost of every medium tank. You just need these three things. Then what I recommend for you to crew skills is to use, of course, 6 cents. I always say like go for 6 cents first, and I don't change. Jack of all trades maybe, because if one guy is knocked out, like for instance the gunner, this tank is almost uncontrollable. So yeah, jack of all trades, you need this. What I recommend for you for the common is repairs, of course, as a medium tank. Camouflage, not really. If you're planning to keep this crew for the next tank, I think no camouflage. If you're planning to keep this tank with the crew, camouflage is a better thing to have, because mostly you're standing still, because I play this as a heavy tank and as a medium tank sometimes, but mostly as a heavy tank. Extended view range, yeah, yes, no. Extended signal range, no. The gun is kinda snipey though. It's a very good sniper gun. Only relaying I recommend for you to use on a radio operator. But 6 cents and jack of all trades. What you need here, of course, is snapshot. This is a must-have for a medium tank. Deadeye, because the AP shells are very good. I mean, on the Leopard 1, you're only using AP shells because the Leopard 1 has a very good penetration. So Deadeye is a good thing to have for this tank and for the future tanks. Armor, yes, because if this gun is knocked out so many times, it doesn't lose that much accuracy. It's still usable, and with armor you can make it better. What I recommend for you to the drivers, of course, clutch braking. Well, they're usually standard of medium tanks. Clutch braking, off-road driving, and smooth ride. You just need this on a medium tank. For the loader, I recommend for you to use nothing at all. You don't need anything. Mostly it's shooting AP shells, so execution is not like you're going to need it. Adrenaline rush, the reloading on this gun is not that bad, and it will maybe adrenaline rush you if you really want to research a skill for the loader. Go for adrenaline rush, but for the rest it's nothing at all. Then we have the shell setup. What you want to use here is lots of AP shells, 1 or 2 gold shells, not too many, and 10 HE shells to shoot away buildings or something like that. The caliber is too low to use HE shells, and the gold shells, the penetration is already very good. So you don't need that extra bump unless you really want to use it. I mean, I do have something against gold shells. I'm totally against it, but 1 or 2 gold shells in case of emergencies, but mostly AP, because you will penetrate most tanks in tier 10 if you know where to shoot. The penetration is good on this tank. So that's it in the garage, and I'll see you in the gameplay. Okay, so welcome back to the gameplay. I have 2 gameplays coming up for you. This one is 1350 experience and the other one is 1450. This one is of the current patch and the other one is of the past patch, so I can't speed up things, etc., because I've already pre-recorded it, because I don't want to lose my replay. But getting experience on this thing is pretty easy, but getting lots of experience on this thing, like for instance over 2000 experience, is pretty difficult on this tank. I mean, I have a good average experience, I have a very low win rate because I used to suck in this tank, but now it's getting better and I can win more matches, but the past always keeps coming back to me. I don't know what the word is in English. But the past keeps following me with the win rate, so my win rate stays under 49%. But this is the Indien-Panzer in Milan, and as you see I'm going off hill. It's 60 kilometers an hour. What I said in the garage was wrong, by the way. I meant going off hill is very fast, not very slow. But as you see, I'm driving now 45 kilometers an hour on flat ground. So going on flat ground is pretty fast with this tank, but if you're turning a little bit you lose some of your speed, but it's typical Germany, you just can't do anything about it. Like the Russians, you can turn them all day, but they will not lose lots of speed. And what I'm trying here to do is, for some earlier rushes, I'm trying to side scrape and make my angle almost impenetrable. If you look at the gun, you know where they are going to hit. So my frontal 90mm of very sloped armor is exposed a bit, and my side armor was almost impenetrable from this angle. So normally, if they had shown up, it should be no problem bouncing them. So we have seen here a T-34 and an IS-6. T-34 is sticking a stud out, so impenetrable, and the IS-6 is behind the hill, so also impenetrable. Miss here, trying to hit for his cupola, because the gun here has a very good accuracy, like I said before. It's not a problem to hit targets from this far. But this is just bad examples of it. So I thought that my team was going to deal with two guys, but I suddenly saw an IS-6 on my left. That IS-6 is going to flank him and destroy him. So I have to help him a bit. First of all, always take out the weaker targets first. If you have less gun means less damage taken. So always take out, even if it is the lowest vehicle, try to take out the easiest target first. For some reason they stopped shooting me, and I'm just going to take my... I wanted to shoot the ELC, but the aiming time was too low to hit it. And there I hit them. Bam, finished them off. ELC is done. That's 250 damage per shot less. There we have an IS-6. And I know the weak spot of an IS-6. It's just below the turret. It's typical Russian. All the Russians have those weak spots there. There we go, see? Penetrated him. The armor there's like only 100 to 90mm I think. There I missed the weak spot. And I'm just trying to aim for the lower hill. He was exposing the sides, and suddenly saw a very juicy Jagdtiger driving over the bridge, and boom, one shot. And he was destroyed. He was destroyed until he arrived there, so he's not a problem anymore. But the other Jagdtiger is, you will see it in the... You will see it later on. So I finished them all, and I suddenly saw that my team was losing on the bottom. Although they all went to the bottom, and they still accomplished to lose. But hey. So driving back to base, and I'm going to speed this a little bit up because you don't want to see me driving, and I'm going to put it on normal modes right here. So here we're going uphill. Look at the speed, 45 kilometers an hour, and driving uphill at a very steep angle, 30, 25, 18, 17, this thing is horrible on hills. It's very fast, but only on flat ground and downhill. Once you're going uphill, this thing is very, very, very slow. So I'm going to speed up this part again. So at least I'm back into the action without waiting too long. So like I said, this gun has a very good penetration, very good accuracy. And if you, like for instance here, I'm in tier 9. But I'm still aiming for weak spot everywhere. In tier 10 also. I mean, voila. The Tiger 2 has a very juicy weak spot under his main hull. And just taking 3 shots here. And suddenly disappeared. And I tried to hit maybe his cupola also, but no, I missed. Should have had a blind kill here. But he will show up in a couple of seconds again, and I'm going to finish him off. So there we go. We only have an IS-2 remaining. And the Luren is taking care of him. And the Jagdtiger is going to me. Notice that I still have 950 hit points left. So I still can take a couple of hits from this guy. So I still aim for its sweet spot. Again, aim for its weak spot. And then artillery literally steals the kill. Kinda derpy moment here, but there is the IS-2 again. Aiming time, aiming time! Oh, yeah, never mind, I hit them. And and they've destroyed the M53 also, so we won this battle. So that's it, and I will see you in the second gameplay where I got 1450 experience off. So see ya. So welcome back to the second gameplay, and this is a pre-recorded video from the previous patch. So I'm driving up here and going to the city, and there was a little one thing what surprises me, by the way, from German tanks is that this thing has a very good gun depression. It has a very good gun depression. It's kind of the same if you ever played the T-34 or something like that. It's the same as the T-34. It is I mean, you can go up to hills and almost hit anything. The problem with German tanks is that they do not have lots of gun depression. And I mean, look at it. Look at this. This is just a shooting gallery. They just like, well, shoot and win. Shoot and win. There we go. And there we go. Finished them off already. And then we have a D150 and an ARL 44 left. And a VK. Very easy VK there. And I mean, the penetration on this thing, even though I hit at his gun mantle, it still penetrated it. The penetration on this gun is so high for a medium tank. It's not what I'm used to. I mean, I've played a Type 58. Type 58 is only like 130mm of penetration. If you ended up in tier 8 or 1 tier higher, oh no. That thing is just useless. So, Mr. I6 though. And see, this is what I mean. Did you saw it there in split seconds? On my armor, it bounced, but it still penetrated me. That's because it penetrated the beneath the turret. It bounced off and it went right back into the turret. I mean, you hear the bouncing sound, but it still did damage. That's because it bounced off my frontal armor and went into my turret. And this problem will occur a lot of times, trust me. It's not only this battle, it happens all the time. You think like, why did I bounce the shot and still penetrated it? Well, because of that. T-71 left, VK left, and they're flanking our guys from the town. So I was like, well, I'm going to help them a bit. After I got one easy shot at the T-28 prototype. I mean, the aiming time on this gun is very high. 8 seconds is a very good aiming time. So we have a T-61, a VK, so it should be no problem. Sorry. So the T-71 already disappeared, so I'm going to take out the VK, and the VK seems like he doesn't care about me.
So much for anti-lock brakes.
And there we have T-71, finished him off quick before he's going to unload his clip on me.
Vroom, vroom, motherfucker. I shot.
And a security kill of the VK3601 also. And from now there's not really much happening, because why, you will see it in later on. So they have a T-21, no idea what he's doing there, because that is not a good position. I think he's trying to scout for artillery, but don't scout there, guys, because the water is going to slow you down a lot. Now it's Type 59. Type 59 just wants to die. He's sitting there right in the open like, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. And I also a bit, I went to the cover now.
Bones probably hit the side of his turret as a very at a very steep angle.
After 2 days of
And I got
R&R,
finished off by
we're
artillery,
ready
of
for
course.
more action.
I was like, well, I'm going so well, I'll suddenly bath artillery. Well, we won this game though, so I'll see you in the garage. There's a little bit more talking about this tank.
So welcome back to the garage. Before I'm going to end this video, the research price of this tank is very high. Like the only thing what you have, basically, if you buy this tank, the only thing what you have, if you have already done the heavy line or the other medium time of the line of the Germans, you have the 88 L71. But you need the tracks to mount this gun on. So you will need, how much does it cost? 14,000 experience before you can mount a decent gun on this tank. The 88, the problem with the previous one is that it has very low penetration, only 132. With the new 88 you have 203. So you'll need the tracks. The only thing I can recommend for you is to at least spare a little bit of free experience to use it on the track, so at least you don't have to drive with the short 88. The engine, the previous engine, it is a lot faster with this engine. So you will need, how much experience you will need on this engine? You need again 21,000 experience before you can finally unlock the engine. The gun is not really that necessary. The only thing what I say, like how you want to research this tank is first get a track, so at least you can mount a decent gun on this tank. Then get the engine, so at least you have a little bit of speed, because this thing is absolutely slow as shit if you have the stock engine. Then go for the gun, and then go for the radio. I mean, the guns between these two are almost the same. The rate of fire is better on a 9 cm only by a bit. The penetration is only better by a bit. The damage is only better by a bit on the HE shells. And the accuracy is only better by a bit. And the aiming time. So there's no hurry to upgrade this gun. It'll still need a very high amount of experience though, 18,300 experience. And then go for the engine at least. So that's it, and I'm going to end this episode. I said everything about the Indien-Panzer. I hate it and I love it. It's kinda 50-50 like I said before. So democration rules, and you can choose a tank for my garage. What do you want me to review next? Please in the comments below, and also try to check out my channel so you know what tanks I've already viewed. Next week I'm going to do or the LTP or the KV-1S. I'm not sure what I'm going to choose. I think maybe the T1E6. I still haven't reviewed this video yet, but this tank yet, but I hate this tank. So I think I'm going to review the LTP. The KV-1S is going to take a little while before I have those experience to at least upgrade it a bit. I mean, I'm saving my experience for my Leopard 1. So that's it, and I'm full, and I'm out. Bye.